Hi, my name is this is Mike, right?
Yep.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fairly well myself. Thanks for asking. So hey, I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time. Are you still the owner over with Sales Scripter?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure I got the right person. So I work for a company called we're a nationally recognized recruiting firm, which is why I'm giving you a call today. Do you have some time to talk?
How much time?
Just a couple minutes.
Sure.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'll try and keep this brief. So, I work on a team of 24 other people, and all of us specialize in placing talent within the information technology and the telecommunications industries, whether it be in the office or out in the fields, from entry levels through CEOs. Just wanted to give you a quick call today, briefly introduce myself, and just see how you guys were doing over there right now. If you guys had any positions maybe you were struggling to fill on your own, or any projects planned for this year that maybe you guys wanted some assistance hiring for them.
We're not doing any staffing right now, we're not looking to hire anybody right now.
Okay. Gotcha. Do you have any plans for that at all for this year, or for it to be determined?
You never know.
Understandable. All right. Well, hey, I do send out emails a few times a week, with different candidates that we're working on to help find their next opportunities. So, if you ever see one of those emails with a candidate that you feel might be a good fit within your guys' organization, or you find yourself with a need, you'll always have my contact information at the bottom of every one of those emails.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate your time today, and hope you have a good rest of your day.
So you may listen to that cold call and think that it was a pretty good call overall, and that the salesperson sounded pretty good and communicated pretty well, and that he had a decent sales script and a decent sales pitch, and that there was really not more that could have been done because the prospect wasn't looking to hire anybody. And I would agree with most of that, except I do feel like there are some small changes that he could make with his sales script and sales pitch that could have a huge impact. And so this is actually the sales process that we talk a lot about at Sales Scripter, but these steps can likely be applied to just about every salesperson and every product being sold, with the first step being your initial outreach to the prospect. This is the cold call. And then you should drive towards some sort of conversation. That's typically the appointment or the meeting. And then ideally, you try to drive to some sort of explanation step, and this is a demonstration or presentation or delivery of your proposal. And so what I think this salesperson can improve on is that he appears to be combining the initial contact with the conversation or the meeting step. And this is what I refer to as performing an instant meeting. Instead of scheduling an appointment with the prospect, you're having a longer conversation right there at the same time. Now, there are some cases where this is the best approach, because sometimes you get someone on the phone and you never know when you're going to be able to talk to them again. Or you might sell something really simple and it just doesn't make sense to get together on another day. But with most B2B sales, such as recruiting or selling some type of business service, I recommend you avoid the instant meeting, because if you schedule an appointment or a call on another day with that prospect, you are going to get more time and attention with that prospect. And this one small change would have a dramatic impact on how this cold call goes and what this salesperson does. And his script basically starts out with sharing the purpose for the call. I think that's a great way to open your cold call. Tell the prospect why you're calling and why it makes sense for them to talk to you. And this salesperson basically talks about how his firm is nationally recognized. And that's a great thing to talk about. It can help to build interest. It can help to establish credibility. But he opens the call with this. I think this is something better to save for the end of the call, maybe right before you go for the close. Because when you're sharing the purpose for the call, you should try to focus on answering the question of what's in it for me for the prospect. What's in it for the prospect to not only buy what you sell, but to stop what they're doing and to talk to you on a cold call. And the best and most efficient way to answer that question is to share the value that you have to offer. He then goes on to share a pain point, which I think is great, but I think he could have been more clear and maybe shared more pain points. He does kind of go on to ask a couple questions, And I think that good questions to ask are what I refer to as pain questions. These are questions that probe to see if the prospect has the pain points that you help to solve. And not only should you ask pain questions, but you could also ask current state questions. And these are questions that check in to see what the prospect is doing in the area where you have something to offer. And certainly I'm showing you a lot of questions here. You do not have time on the very short cold call to ask all of these questions. Ideally, what you'd want to do is ask a couple of these until you find a justification in talking more, and then you close for the conversation sales process step or set the appointment. And in the appointment, you could ask more of these questions, which, by the way, is another example of why separating the cold call from the appointment is helpful, because having that appointment on another day will give you more time to ask these questions. He did face this objection of, we're not looking to fill any positions right now, which is an objection that we all face. We're not making any changes right now. We don't have a need for what you sell right now. And he responds to this in a pretty good way by asking a question. Well, do you have any plans to hire anyone at any point this year? And that's a good objection response. But if we go back to the sales process, there might be a better way to respond to this objection. Because if we're avoiding that instant meeting, our goal is not to sell the product. Our goal is to set the appointment and talk more in the conversation. So the fact that the prospect is not looking to fill any positions is not a valid reason to not progress to the conversation step. It's a valid reason for them not to hire us today to be their recruiting firm, but that's not our goal. Our goal is simply to talk more in the conversation. And when you keep that at the front of your mind, you can respond to objections with something like this. Hey, I understand, and I'm not looking to sign you guys up for anything, just looking to start the dialogue between our two organizations. That way, when you need help filling an open position, you can know who we are and how we can help. And then you close for the conversation. As we progressed to the end of the cold call, his goal was basically adding me to his email list and going in the direction of keep me in mind. Now, I really like the keep me in mind approach because it's difficult to reach out to prospects at the exact time when they're looking to buy what you sell or they need to buy what you sell. The challenge with his approach is that here we are having an extremely brief conversation, really attached to a cold call. And that's going to not be extremely memorable. And if it's not memorable, it's more difficult for the prospect to keep you in mind, even if you do send out emails periodically. What you'd want to do is have a really good appointment with the prospect where you can talk more about them and then share more information about you, and then add them to your email list after that conversation step. And so if you don't have the instant meeting, you can still close at the end of the cold call for the appointment. Now, a lot of those talking points that I just shared with you that I used to improve his sales pitch, I created by going through our sales message brainstorming process. I will include a link to this process if you want to go through it with what you sell in the description below. And when you go through that process, each of those steps gives you what I refer to as building blocks. There's a value points building block, a pain questions building block, and you can mix and match those building blocks to create a lot of documents, and you can use those to create your sales script. You could also use those same building blocks for your first appointment script. You can use those building blocks for a cold email campaign. Here is a 6-email cold email campaign. You can use those same building blocks for voicemail messages. You can also use those building blocks for objection responses. And if you want to see all of the different documents that you can create, I've actually done that in this other video titled Writing Sales Scripts. If you go to this playlist, The Smart Sales System, Sell Smarter, Not Harder, this video will show you the actual documents that you can create. And the mixing and matching of those building blocks is actually how Sales Scripter works. The software is basically a library of documents, and those documents fill in with your sales message once you answer all of the questions for what you sell. And we've actually gone through Sales Scripter and answered all the questions and created a sales message for recruiting and staffing services. That's what I've actually shown you here today. That's already loaded up in the Sales Scripter software in our preloaded public library that you can grab. And when you grab that, then you're loaded up with all of the answers in the sales message builder, and then that sales message can be used to create a whole library of cold call scripts and email templates and voicemail scripts and objection responses. And that's pretty much it. If you want more information, the best place to go is salescripter.com. If you want more tips, there are plenty of videos. There are ebooks that you can download for free. If you want more information on the product of SalesScripter, there are plenty of demo videos that show you all of the different features. If you want to contact us, this is the best place to go. You can get our phone number, email address. There's a chat window as well. Thanks for being here, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.